Due to staying up late and working overtime, Xiao took a nap at work the next day and inexplicably traveled through time, still dressed up as a small cannon fodder in a historical document she had read in her spare time. As soon as she faced the danger of her life, she had to quickly accept the fact with frustration, first turn the deadlock, and then strive for 100 years of longevity. The cycle of causality is not so simple. She successfully opened the Jade Pendant space and also learned the truth about the journey. Reviving her life, there is space, and of course, she wants to live a different life from her previous life. She can lay it down, eat it, lie flat, and feel comfortable just thinking about it. However, the big house and the whole family are eyeing each other closely, and if one plan fails, they will come up with another plan, which is very annoying. Xiao slapped her face in place and exchanged teeth for teeth, but she was still careless for a moment and was caught up in a scheme. She was forced to go to the countryside and open a new map. When she thought that going to the countryside meant living a hard and hard-working farming life, she met him, and life seemed to be in disarray, with good things coming one after another. Recognize a master, learn medical skills, attend university, and be a little miracle doctor who treats and saves people. Going to Kyoto, encountering relatives, becoming a group of pets, the small cannon gray turns white and rich and beautiful. Living on, she has become a winner in life, living like the envy in the eyes of others. The female lead is forced to make progress and become a goddess, while the male lead is cold and stern, with a black belly and a high position of power, doting on his wife and being crazy keywords of the novel. After 80's marriage, Xiaopao Hui became Bai Fumei without a pop-up window. After 80's marriage, Xiaopao Hui became Bai Fumei. Download the complete text of Bai Fumei. After 80's marriage, Xiaopao Hui became Bai Fumei's latest chapter for reading. Chapter 1. Rapid Response. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Rapid Response, Pop. Damn girl, you can't help but be willing or unwilling about this. You've eaten our Su family's rice for 17 years for free, and it's time to repay your kindness. A sharp and powerful voice pierced her already buzzing brain like a steel needle, and Xiao touched her slightly painful cheek, holding back the discomfort and looking up, only to see unfamiliar and indifferent faces. She was a bit confused for a moment. Although she was just at work, she worked overtime until early morning last night and felt very tired today. Did she take a nap and dream during work hours? The slap she waved again quickly woke her up, and she reflexively grabbed the dry paw. Damn girl, if you dare to resist, I can't kill you. Lu Tsuehua struggled and waved her other hand. She, Xiao, is not easy to bully, and her over a decade of practicing taekwondo is not for free. It's almost a conditioned reflex, pushing and pulling, turning and catching, and lifting her knee to hit. Ah! Damn girl, let go of me, it's your turn. The woman was crushed to the ground in embarrassment, still trying to resist, constantly shouting. Who is the dead girl scolding? Su Shaokai didn't get used to her and kicked her, unable to relieve her hatred with just one kick, kicking her 3 times in a row. Oh my dear, you're crazy, help me. The woman wailed, her excruciating pain making her lose her arrogance. Su Xiao, how dare you? The man who had just watched coldly on the side suddenly realized and immediately took action to pull Su Xiao, not forgetting to curse. You're crazy, don't let go of your aunt. Su Xiao frowned and took the opportunity to release Lu Tsuehua, then dodged the man's hand that was causing trouble. The hero doesn't take immediate losses, and this body is really poor. It only takes a few strokes to make her pant. It seems that she needs to exercise more in the future. The man lifted Lu Tsuehua, who was lying on the ground screaming, and looked at Su Xiao with a surprised and unkind look in his eyes. I dare to take action against my elders. How did your parents teach you? It's indeed a wild seed picked up from outside, and its roots are bad. We originally thought that you had been with the Su family for many years and wanted to help you more. I didn't expect you to be so unkind, so don't blame us for being impolite. Are you going to laugh at me to death? I've seen someone shameless before, but I've never seen someone so shameless like you. Selling me to a fool as my wife is a good marriage. So why don't you sell your own daughter? This way, you'll be the legitimate in-laws of the Li family. In the future, you won't have to follow behind the Li family and beg for mercy. You can also come to the table to drink meat soup. What a good deal, right? As soon as Su Daong said these words, his face turned pale. She was secretly cursing his dog. Stinky girl, I made you talk cheap. Oh, let go, let go. Touch. Su Xiao sat calmly and spoke cold words. Although he seemed to speak casually, he was actually prepared to take action at any time by observing the 8 directions. Seeing Su Daong come over with a big mouth, he grabbed his wrist and slammed it onto the nearby table, causing Su Daong to scream in pain. De Yong. Lu Tsuehua watched from the side as she wanted to step forward and help, but was stared at by Su Zhao's gloomy and pitiful eyes, frozen in place without daring to move. Su Xiao watched them smile, but that smile made people shudder. For the sake of my parents, get lost. Lu Tsuehua was really scared and nodded quickly, okay. We're leaving now, you and me, let go of him first. Su Xiaosong let go and took a step back. Open a new pit, remember to collect it if you like it, children. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Mystery of Background. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Mystery of Background. Watching the two of them fleeing in panic, Su Zhao's eyes flashed with a hint of depression. After Yang stepped forward and closed the door, he collapsed on the steps in the courtyard. This body is really poor, just a few times ago, her stamina has been exhausted. If it weren't for that, how could she easily let them go? She has just completely accepted the original memory, and can't help but think about roast. It's really an 8 o'clock show, too bloody. The original Su Xiaoxiao was indeed a child picked up by Su Eryong, the second son of the Su family. The original Su Xiaoxiao had just learned about this matter. In August of that year, Tian and I, the second wife-in-law, had some unexpected premature birth, but they finally gave birth to a dead baby. The couple was feeling sad when they heard the sound of a baby crying in the hospital hallway. The weather was favorable and the people were in harmony. Naturally, the couple took the baby back home and raised it completely as their own daughter. Everyone in the family has been kept secret to death. If it weren't for an accident last month and both of them passing away, this secret would probably have been buried at the bottom of the box and gone unnoticed for a lifetime. The second husband and wife of the Su family are capable. They are formal workers in the machinery factory. A few days ago, a fire broke out in the workshop, and Su Eryong died directly in the sea of fire to save his wife. Although Tian and I was pushed out, she was also seriously injured. Perhaps it was because of her husband's death that she lost her will to survive and was unable to survive for 3 days. Su Xiaoxiao is a filial person who takes care of her day and night. It was at this moment that her mother Tianmi told her about her background, hoping that this daughter whom they truly love would have the chance to find relatives and continue to be loved by their biological parents after they leave. It's really a heart full of love for women. Coincidentally, this matter was heard by Lu Tsuehua, who came to deliver things. After the elderly couple left, they received a large pension and 2 job positions. Money and silk move people's hearts. Coincidentally, there is still a son and a daughter in her family who are unemployed and facing the crisis of going to the countryside. Isn't this all prepared for her family? However, first we need to deal with the wild seeds in front of us. As for the eldest son of the second family, who has been serving in the northwest for 2 years and has not returned, there is no news at all, so there is no need to worry. So, today's release came into being. On this side, the Su couple returned home with an unpleasant expression on their faces. Mom and Dad, how's it going? Have we finished the task? Su Wei heard the commotion and immediately came out of the room to inquire about the situation, full of anticipation. With Uncle Air's job, he doesn't have to go to the countryside anymore, how can he not be excited? In the room, Su Peipei also heard the commotion and quietly walked to the door to listen. No, that dead girl dared to resist and even started hitting us. She used to behave well in front of us, probably just pretending. How could it be? She has small arms and legs, can she have that ability? Su Wei was very skeptical. Why not? Sun Suihua chattered through today's events from beginning to end. Then, as he spoke, he became more and more angry, feeling uncomfortable in his heart. He stood up and said, "No, I have to go to the Li family and say, I can't let that girl make things better." "Dad, what should we do?" "My job," Su Wei anxiously said. As he reached his age and couldn't find a job, he had his older sister go to the countryside on his behalf last year, and this year, don't worry, she's a helpless girl. There's always a way out. Su Dayong's eyes were gloomy, and his mind was also thinking of countermeasures. He must repay this grudge 1,000 times today, and she won't be better off. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Rebirth of the female lead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Rebirth of the female lead. Sun Suihua left in a daze, while others in the room were still fighting against Su Xiao and discussing countermeasures. However, Su Peipei was not in the mood to listen anymore. Her mind is full of questions now. How could she be different from her previous life? Has Su Xiao also been reborn? What should she do then? Can she still get her jade pendant space? Can I still take over my aunt's job? Can you still marry the son of the factory director? It is impossible for her to have no regrets in her heart in her previous life. When I was just reborn, I thought about whether to continue the old path of my previous life. Taking over my aunt's job, marrying the son of the factory director, giving birth to the eldest grandson of the Shu family, being a husband and a child, and living a prosperous life. But there was always a hint of unwillingness in her heart. After being reborn and looking back at life, she realized that she was more willing to be Su Peipei than to be the elegant and luxurious Lady Shu. A successful person standing in front of others, not a woman hidden behind men. She is now familiar with the future and has more advantages than others. She believes that she can seize opportunities, become a good person, and even be more successful than her previous husband. But now there's an accident, Su Xiao. She also thought about whether to stop her parents' behavior, but her desire to obtain space for the jade pendant made her hesitate. Although the space of the jade pendant can only hold 10 cubic meters of things, it still brought her a lot of convenience in her previous life. Now that she is going to do something big, with space for a jade pendant, she is like adding wings to a tiger and achieving twice the result with half the effort. No, I need to go take a look. Su Peipei stood up and walked out, but before he could reach the door, he was stopped by Su Dayong. "Pepe, where are you going? It's already noon and you're not cooking yet. You want to starve us to death, day after day. I don't know what to think about." "Got it." Subpei had no choice but to go to the kitchen to cook first. It's impossible to say that Su Peipei doesn't envy Su Xiao. As both daughters, her life is incomparable to Su Xiao's. Especially knowing that Su Xiao is not actually the biological daughter of her second uncle and aunt, jealousy in her heart has become a hint of jealousy. Why is it that she, as an adopted daughter of the Su family, is taken care of as a treasure by her second uncle and aunt, while her two older brothers and sister are the youngest in the family, she still has to do household chores from a young age. Also, if we don't get this job opportunity, our family will definitely let her go to the countryside on behalf of our second brother, just like our older sister did last year. This is actually one of the reasons why she did not immediately stop her parents' behavior after being reborn. She looked at the dark and greasy kitchen, endured nausea, and began cooking, feeling increasingly uncomfortable. She wanted to quickly escape from this dilapidated home. After all, she has been a top-notch lady for decades, and if she goes back to doing these rough jobs, she simply can't adapt. No, as a husband, Xu Bowen still has to marry. In the current environment, the only way for her to get rid of the Xu family and live well is to get married. And now, around her, the Xu family has the best family conditions. She can marry in the past first, and she can slowly change her future path, right? Xu Peipei has made a decision, and her mind has started to liven up again. Looking back on her previous life when she met her husband, she first wanted to enter the machinery factory. This has returned to the starting point. Now that Xu Xiaoxiao's side is in trouble, can she still smoothly enter the machinery factory? No, she must go and meet this Xu Xiaoxiao, and by the way, find a way to get the Jade Pendant space over. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Frontal Confrontation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Frontal Confrontation hastily cooked lunch, but Xu Peipei didn't have time to eat and ran away directly. Out of breath, she arrived at Xu Xiaoxiao's doorstep and adjusted her expression. She patted the courtyard door anxiously and shouted, "Xiao Xiao, are you at home? Second sister has come to see you, open the door quickly." Xu Xiao was cooking noodles in the kitchen when she heard the sound and thought for a moment. It was Xu Peipei, the second sister of the uncle's family. Recalling everything Xu Peipei had done to Xu Xiaoxiao in her memory, Xu Xiao couldn't help but frown. This woman is not a good bird. She treated Xu Xiaoxiao like a fool, but unfortunately, her original body was protected too well to see clearly. When the person arrived, she didn't want to disturb her neighbors by shouting and shouting. She still came out and opened the door, but she didn't let her in. Instead, she went out on her own and blocked the door. Why did second sister come? "Xiao Xiao, how are you? Are you okay? Second sister is here, don't be afraid," Xu Peipei said affectionately, reaching out to hug her. Xu Xiao quickly dodged her hand. "Xiao Xiao, what's wrong with you?" Xu Peipei quickly flashed a complex emotion in her eyes, then put on a helpless image of a good sister, feeling lost and aggrieved. "Xiao Xiao, are you blaming me? I know my parents are doing something wrong, and I have been opposing and persuading them at home, but they didn't listen to me and even locked me up. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop them." Xu Xiao raised her eyebrows slightly, and her magical sixth sense told her that the woman in front of her was not right. She stared closely at her expression and followed her words, saying calmly, "I didn't blame you. So why did you come? Uncle and aunt are willing to let you out." Xu Peipei choked slightly and felt a hint of displeasure in her heart. She smiled and said, "Yes, they didn't know they were wrong now. They specifically asked me to come see you and apologize to you." Little, let's go in and talk." Xu Peipei wanted to pull Xu Xiao into the room, but Xu Xiao couldn't let her lead her by the nose and automatically ignored certain words. She hugged her chest with both hands and once again avoided her hand, saying calmly, "Apologize, then tell me, I'll listen." Xu Peipei is almost certain that Xu Xiaoxiao has been reborn now. Otherwise, her once foolish sister wouldn't resist her intimacy like this. She must also hold a grudge against her. However, fortunately, she did not intervene in this matter, and there is still room for further action. Also, her younger sister died early and did not know the trajectory of the future. Even if she were reborn, it would not pose a threat to her. Xu Peipei thought she had seen through Xu Xiaoxiao and had a plan in her heart. She immediately put on a sad expression, tears streaming down her face, and couldn't help but say, "Xiao Xiao, I'm sorry. I sincerely apologize to you on behalf of my parents. They already know they did something wrong. You are so kind, and you will definitely forgive them." Xu Xiaoji looked at her clumsy performance with a straight hook and raised her eyebrows and sneered, "Is that over?" Xu Peipei nodded involuntarily when she suddenly asked, feeling a bit confused. Yes. Okay, then you can go, Su Xiao said perfunctorily. Ah. Su Peipei paused for a moment, then smiled and muttered to herself, Xiao, please forgive us. It's really good. By the way, my mom said you were a child picked up by Aunt Air. Don't worry, I have always treated you as my own sister, and having no blood relationship does not hinder our relationship. Su Xiao couldn't help but roll his eyes in the air. In my heart, I couldn't help but slander. This woman, is her mind okay? Unexpectedly unable to understand human language. She really doesn't want to talk to her, and when she wants to speak directly and rush someone, she just listens. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. A Girl Wearing Books. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. A Girl Wearing Books. Xiao, can I see the jade pendant that Auntie Air gave you to recognize your biological parents? Many people have great power, and I can help you find your biological parents together. Su Xiao's head exploded with a bang, and another memory rushed into her mind, which was Jade Pendant. Su Peipei. Su Xiao. She remembered that she had put it into a book, a period essay she used to read for a change of mind when she was tired of work, and Su Xiao was the little cannon fodder who only appeared in 2 chapters of the book and received boxed meals. Wait. Jade Pendant. How could she know about the Jade Pendant? Su Xiao was very certain that her original mother had not mentioned the Jade Pendant. She only told her that there was a small box under the bed in her room, which contained the clothes she had worn when she was a child. In the book, the description of Jade Pendants is also after Su Xiao's death. Several members of the Su family believed that there was no one left in the Su Eryong family, so they completely seized the Su family's property. Su Peipei was cleaning up Su Eryong's house when he found the jade pendant in the box under the bed and obtained the golden finger. Now, what kind of trouble is this? Su Xiao turned to look at Su Peipei and suddenly smiled. Second sister, thank you, but no need. I don't intend to go find my biological parents. Since they abandoned me in the first place, I will only consider them strangers. The ones who raised me are my parents, and I only recognize them. No, your biological parents may have some difficulties. Little, don't be so arbitrary. Let's find them and ask them clearly. Su Peipei anxiously advised Su Xiao. Su Xiao, however, remained unmoved and impatiently waved her hand to interrupt her incessant chatter. All right, second sister, what are you doing? I have my own affairs to decide for myself. How can you make decisions for me under the guise of being good for me like my uncle and the others? No, I'm not, I'm genuinely doing it for you. Su Peipei immediately explained when she saw Su Xiao getting angry. Unfortunately, Su Xiao won't give her another chance to nag. She still has important things to do. All right, you go. I'm not in the mood to argue with you right now, he said, turning around and closing the door in one breath. Yu Guang glanced at Su Peipei's twisted face and sneered. Is the female lead reborn? This script is interesting. Su Peipei looked at the closed door with a dark expression on her face, but she still patiently said, Xiao, don't be angry. Second sister is really all for your good. You open the door and let second sister in, and second sister apologizes to you. Xiao. Su Peipei gritted her teeth and frowned. Looking through the crack in the door, she noticed that Su Xiao had already entered the house. She could only stomp her feet in frustration and raise her voice. Xiao, second sister is really for your own good. Don't be angry. Think about what second sister said. After saying a few more words and waiting for a while, there was no movement in the courtyard. Su Peipei could only vent, Xiao, I'll come see you again tomorrow. Second sister, let's go first. After waiting for a while, there was still no movement, and Su Peipei could only leave with a twisted face. Thinking in my heart what to do. The jade pendant, she must be a must-have. When she returned home, she saw that the family had finished their meal and the table was in a mess with nothing left for her. Her disgust made her even more eager to leave the house. Suddenly, Su Pei saw the carefree Su Wei and had a vague idea in her heart. "Second brother, let's have a chat." Su Wei was puzzled and said, "What are we talking about?" "I have arranged for someone to go out and play. I'll talk about it when I come back." "Talking about work." "Okay, you say." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Jade Pendant Space. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Jade Pendant Space. Su Xiao returned home and went directly to Su's father and mother's room, quickly finding the box and jade pendant. It's really a jade with a clear and transparent body. Thinking that the female protagonist in the book accidentally injured her hand and dropped a drop of blood on the contracted space, Su Xiao didn't hesitate to find scissors, wash them clean, and then ignite them with a match before cutting her finger and dripping blood. Don't blame her for having many things to do. In this era, medical resources are scarce, and if we have to catch a tetanus, it will be over. Suddenly, a child voice came to her mind, "Master, Xiao Lu is waiting for you." Su Xiaowei was slightly surprised, "Are you?" "I am the space artifact spirit." "Master, you come first." She remembers that in the book, Su Pei only obtained 10 cubic meters of space, without any artifacts, and her body could not enter the space. What is the current situation? With so much thought in her heart, it was only in an instant that she had already followed her heart into the space. As soon as he entered, a clear and spiritual aura rushed towards him, instantly refreshing his mind. At first glance, it was just a barren land, estimated to be about 10 acres. Well, the contrast is quite significant. The imagined mountains and rivers are beautiful, with unique flowers and fruits, none of which exist. No, not really. There is a withered tree behind her and a dry well next to it. Ying, it's really a dry well. With her 5.3 years of vision, it's really clear, refreshing, and clean inside. Master, why are you so foolish? Are you stupid? You're so foolish, Su Xiao reflexively retorted, looking at the sound and exclaiming, "Oh ho, what are you?" I saw a white mist rolling in mid-air, with a hint of impatience in the child's voice. "I'm not something, I'm the spirit of a tool, Xiao Lu, Xiao Lu." "Ha, yes, you're not something." Su Xiao laughed at it and nodded in agreement. "Master, you're being unreasonable. I've become like this not only for you, but also for you. They can't even solidify their substance, and you're still laughing at me, White mist doesn't flip over anymore, it's forbidden to stay still." Although it was still a mess, she could feel a small figure, holding her chest and buttocks in both hands and facing her, feeling suffocated. Su Xiao awkwardly touched her nose. Is she really going too far? "That, Xiao Lu, I'm sorry, I apologize to you." You were deceived by the nest. Yo ho. The white mist began to roll again, indicating its joy. Su Xiao was stunned for a moment, but her heart relaxed. She was really a bit nervous and at a loss just now. Wow, Xiao Lu is really amazing. He even deceived me. Su Xiao flattered it lightly. The space tool is so agile, and it's always right to have a good relationship with it. Xiao Lu arrogantly said, "That's right, I'm not strong enough. How could I bring you into this time and space? Although it cost a lot, it's still worth it." Upon hearing this, Su Xiao's mind twitched and she immediately asked, "Xiao Lu, can you tell me more specifically? Do you mean that I will come over because of you?" "Well, okay." So Su Xiao sat on the ground and listened to a long story. When it comes to the origin of the Jade Pendant space, Xiao Lu cannot explain it clearly. It only knows that hundreds of thousands of years ago, it had a trace of intelligence, and its first owner was an alchemist who managed this space into a medicine garden. Afterwards, it had several owners one after another. Of course, each owner had a blood relationship with the first owner in order to open up space. It vaguely remembers that it has been tens of thousands of years since its last owner passed away. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Reasons for Crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Reasons for Crossing. I don't know how many cycles I have gone through, trapped in this world, it feels lonely. Until Su Peipei accidentally cut her finger on the watch strap and dripped blood on the jade pendant, Xiao Lu noticed a faint aura of blood mixed in her blood. It knew that Su Peipei was not a descendant of her original owner, and in order to investigate the situation, it mobilized that strand of blood to open up a corner of space for her to use, and it could also perceive everything outside through her. It turned out that the watch on Su Peipei's hand was stained with Su Xiaoxiao's blood, and that watch was Su Xiaoxiao's relic. Xiao Lu knew that his original body had died, not to mention how regretful he was. He missed out on this master, and he didn't know how many years it would take before he could meet the next master. After decades of contemplation, it decided to take a gamble. Therefore, when Su Peipei died, it activated spatial energy to reverse time and space. During this process, it happened to notice Su Zhao's soul wandering in the void, bringing her to this time and space. After listening to the story, Su Xiao silently digested it for a long time and asked, I and Su Xiaoxiao are two different people. How could you bring me over? Where did the original Su Xiaoxiao go? Xiao Lu was puzzled and said, You are Su Xiaoxiao. Your souls are 100% compatible, but her soul power seems to be weak. Now you are in the dominant position. Su Xiao suddenly felt it with her heart. Suddenly, a small ball was discovered in the dantian, which was Su Xiaoxiao's phantom. The little person glanced at her and smiled sadly, Live well for me, I'm going to go find my parents. As he spoke, the phantom slowly dissipated. Su Xiao couldn't ask why she was talking so much. Actually, there's no need to ask. She also knows that she's just tired and doesn't want to live anymore. The original body in the book was directly placed under house arrest by Su Daong and his wife. After being sold to the Li family, within 3 days, he was tortured to death by that fool in the Li family. When Su Xiaojiang first received that memory, the excruciating pain that she could still empathize with was too painful. It's not surprising that her original body had to avoid leaving. As for why there are two identical souls in different time and space, this is too mysterious, she doesn't want to ask anymore. She just wanted to know, Xiao Lu, am I dead in the original world? Can I still go back? I'm afraid this can't be done, said Xiao Lu, feeling a bit guilty and weak. Su Xiao, however, was immersed in her own emotions and did not hear it. Upon seeing this, Xiao Lu formed a ball and tried to minimize his presence, fearing that the owner would delve deeper into the matter. After an unknown amount of time, Su Xiao finally stopped hesitating and gathered his energy. He looked at the empty space and planned, Xiao Lu, can this space still be planted? Upon seeing Su Xiao change the topic, Xiao Lu immediately regained his energy and rolled over to Su Xiao, anxiously saying, Naturally, Master. As long as you can find enough spiritual objects to put in the space, it is not impossible to restore the former charm of the space. Are you saying that there is a possibility of space restoration? Su Xiao became mentally alert. So what is in this well? Is it a spiritual spring? And this tree, a spiritual tree? It's not her fault for her delusions. With space, who wouldn't want a spiritual spring that can cure all diseases and prolong life? Yes. Xiao Lu said with some fear. Really, that's great. Su Xiao felt full of energy and said arrogantly, Say, what do you want? I'll find it for you immediately. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Inheritance of Pharmacopoeia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Inheritance of Pharmacopoeia. If someone dares to respond, then there is really someone. Ah no, it's Ling dare to mention. That's a lot. 10,000-year-old ginseng, Ganoderma lucidum, Polygonum multiflorum, ancient weapons, mineral spiritual veins, divine beast spiritual pets. Wait, I think we should wash and sleep. Su Xiao is too weak to vomit. She must be crazy. What does it say? Do you think this is the cultivation world? Well, how about 1,000-year spirit plant? Xiao Lu said weakly, the effect of 100 years may not be very good, but when collected, it's okay to have a variety in space and cultivate it for thousands of years. Su Xiao rolled her eyes silently, so she was indeed delusional. For thousands of years, she didn't even know how many reincarnations she had. All right, if there's a chance, I'll look for it, Su Xiao said perfunctorily. She had already given up, thinking that this space was just an ordinary farming space. In fact, this is also very good. In this barren era, it is not bad for ordinary people to have enough to eat. They can have this land and grow fruits and vegetables in the future, not too beautiful. Su Xiao put on a positive attitude and felt relieved. Xiao Lu is actually a bit guilty. He almost destroyed the entire space for his own selfish reasons, giving his owner a useless space. It's not surprising that his owner is disappointed. Suddenly, it thought of something and exclaimed excitedly, Master, there is still a Pharmacopoeia inheritance for Xiao Lu here. Please keep it. Pharmacopoeia inheritance. Yes, it was written by the first-generation owner herself. She asked Xiao Lu to pass it on to her descendants, but with different personal qualifications, it's up to you to learn how much you can achieve. As he spoke, a light ball quickly headed towards Su Xiao's head. Before Su Xiao could fully recover, she had a phantom of an ancient book in her mind. Su Xiao can use her mind to flip through it, but she can only read 2 pages and cannot go through the rest. The first page is an introduction to this Pharmacopoeia and the author's autobiography. The second page is about the 10 formulas and principles for reducing fever. The 10 formulas refer to the 10 types of formulas for reducing fever. For various fever conditions, each prescription has some subtle differences. For those who do not understand, it is a heavenly book. Xiao Liuxiu wiped off the non-existent sweat on his head and proudly flipped his head. Fortunately, it was still useful, and now the owner should be happy. Su Xiao, however, only wanted to howl. She just glanced hastily and was already dizzy. Medicine is not separated, is giving her a pharmacopoeia for her to study medicine. It is still the most difficult to learn traditional Chinese medicine, and even after decades of learning, one may not necessarily be able to become a master. Persuading people to learn medicine is like thunder and lightning. She doesn't want it in her previous life. She unfortunately became a programming ape, often staying up late and losing her hair. In this life, will she conquer traditional Chinese medicine again? I really want to be blind. No, she only wants to be a happy farmer in this life, don't let her use her brain. Looking at the barren field in front of her, Su Xiao suddenly calmed down. She has some free time and worries about farming. She doesn't know how to farm. Let's learn slowly, don't worry. Master, are you happy now? Well, happy. That's good. Upon receiving approval, Xiao Lu felt a little uneasy again. How about it? Is Xiao Lu very capable? Yes, very capable. Su Xiao's eyes lit up and he looked forward to it. Can you help me farm? The space tool spirit is just helping the owner take care of the space. Well, it can. Xiao Lu felt guilty again. It used to be able to, but now it consumes too much energy. I'm afraid so, hee. But looking at the hopeful look in its owner's eyes, it finally gritted its teeth and endured it alone. Great, Xiao Lu, you are the most capable and excellent tool spirit. Hee. The two of them were each thinking about their own thoughts, talking to each other, not to mention, it was quite harmonious. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Seeking Asylum. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Seeking Asylum Out of Space, Xiao went directly to the machinery factory. Who are you looking for? The gatekeeper dutifully inquired about the visitor's situation, so as to register. Grandpa, I'm Xiao, the daughter of Su Eryong, the leader of the first group in the third workshop of the machinery factory. I'm here to see Director Xu. I have something to do. Xiao was dressed in a white shirt and black pants, with a petite and delicate figure. Her facial features were just right, but she was better off with a fair complexion, a gentle smile, and a pair of dimples. Due to the passing of her parents in recent days, she was deeply affected and had worked hard for many days. Even if she changed her soul and had some energy, she couldn't cover her physical fatigue. She looked weak and pitiful. Oh, it's Eryong's daughter. Hurry up, go in. The old man waved his hand and let her in. The fire in the third workshop caused 2 deaths and 3 injuries, and the story of Su Eryong and his wife naturally spread throughout the factory. The old man looked at the weak back of the girl and couldn't help but sigh. Xiao asked all the way and quickly found Director Xu's office. Xu Zhendong couldn't help but furrow his brows when he heard that the person coming was Su Eryong's daughter, and couldn't help but think of the people from the Su family who had been crying and demanding compensation a few days ago. He reached out and took off his glasses, rubbed his brow, and said wearily, "Let her in." Secretary Zhou should be there, and then led Xiao into Director Xu's office. "Hello, Director Xu, sorry to bother you." Xiao politely bowed and bowed. Upon seeing this, Xu Zhendong couldn't help but feel relieved. His mood improved a lot, and he didn't just want to make trouble. "Sit down, Xiao Zhou, make a cup of tea," he said. Xiao thanked and sat down confidently. Xu Zhendong saw the little girl calm and polite, and developed a good impression of her. Thinking about the behavior of Su Eryong and his wife, he was also quite regretful. The security department in the factory is still investigating the cause of your parents' matter. Once we have a result, we will provide compensation as soon as possible. Don't worry, the factory will be responsible to the end. Xiao took a sip from his water glass and then looked at Xu Zhendong with a hint of tears in his eyes, but a strong smile appeared on his face. "Thank you very much, Director Xu. I believe in the party and leadership," he said. Xu Zhendong softened his tone when he saw this and said, "Don't be too sad. Your parents are alive and well, so naturally I hope you can be well." "Well, I know." Xiao tried hard to take a sniff and put away the tears that had been smoked out by the hot water, looking at him with anticipation. "I came here this time, there's something I need Director Xu's help with." "Anything, as long as I can do it, I will definitely help." Xu Zhendong had a good impression of the girl in front of him and decided in his heart that if he could help, he would definitely help. However, for those impossible things, he would definitely not touch the bottom line of principles. Xiao is already very satisfied with obtaining this answer. "The thing is, this morning, my uncle." Xiao, feeling aggrieved, went to her house with a few members of the Su family to cause trouble and wanted to sell her to the Li family's fool as his wife, coveting her parents' pension and job position. The leader spoke in his mind. How unreasonable. Xu Zhendong frowned fiercely upon hearing this, also feeling angry. "Don't worry, Uncle Xu will definitely make the decision for you. It's really against his will. Thinking of those people from the Su family who came to cause trouble, none of them are good things. They only have money in their eyes and disregard family affection. They are really inferior to animals. There is also the Li family, who are petty and socially despicable." Upon hearing these words, Xiao's heart calmed down quite a bit. Sure enough, she came this time. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Preemptive Action. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors.